serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey, folks, and welcome to episode number 93 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of December 17th through 23rd, 2018. My name is Tim Beeman.
And my name is Ray Morgan.
And we're opening the recipe box. We are recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town at the Lab at Industry Hill. It is a repurposed building on North Chestnut Street in the old warehouse district of downtown Winston-Salem, what we now call Industry Hill. And it hosts a whole lot of cool new things, not here, but Industry Hill itself. Restaurants, chocolatiers, breweries, entertainment complexes, and a high-end stereo shop that's coming, and more. Find out more by visiting industryhill.com.
And if you go crazy, there's a place to go climb.
That's true, at the Rock Box. I can't believe I forgot that. The bouldering location.
Yes.
They will be on the show in the Less Desirable show in a couple of weeks.
Cool. Have you been in there?
I have been in there.
Have you climbed?
I have. Yeah. I my fingers hurt just watching other people do it.
Yeah.
So
I climbed the steps to get in the door.
Yeah, that was enough for me.
Plenty.
So the Crazy Crab on Peters Creek is now open. They opened this past Thursday. Where was I?
That's next door to Mr. Barbecue.
Yes.
It's the old deli location.
Yeah, it was Hero House, and before that it was a Wendy's.
Yeah.
It was the Wendy's that moved down Peters Creek to where Arby's and all that stuff is there.
Right.
Across from the Food Lion and all that stuff. So, yeah, so I went by one evening. It may have been Saturday. I think we went up Saturday or something. Yes, and they were packed. So that's good for them.
That's good news for them. For sure.
I was looking over the menu online, and it's pretty extensive, and it looks to be reasonable.
What you'd expect for a seafood place.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm reasonable as far as like pricing. It was not awful. They have fried baskets, which and what I'm figuring is broiled seafood as well. Mm-hmm. They have black and green mussels. They have head-on and head-off shrimp. King and snow crab legs, blue crab, Dungeness, is that how you say it?
Dungeness
crab.
At least I think. Don't quote me.
I think that's why I looked it up earlier, but I'm like, they have crawfish and so on like there. They also have combos that include every fried basket combo includes corn, egg, potato, and sausage. So it's like a low country thing.
Yeah.
And with each, you can choose your flavor from Cajun, lemon pepper, garlic butter, or all mixed. And you also then pick your spicy level, non-spicy, medium, hot, and extra hot. The prices range from $18 to $38 on the plates and the combos.
Right.
And but you're getting pretty good sized portions. It looks like it's like a half pound of this, half pound of that.
Oh, nice
stuff.
Yeah.
So even the most expensive was like a pound of something and a lobster tail. So that $38 was, you're getting a good bit.
You're getting
of
the
stuff.
value out of it.
They have a wide selection of appetizers and some desserts as well. So I hope that they do well. They are on Peters Creek, like we said, across from a little bit up the street, but kind of across from Mayflower there.
Right.
There's also across the street from Bojangles, a couple doors down from Sampan
Yes.
Chinese restaurant,
Love Sampan.
and there's the stereo shop there. And like you said, Mr. Barbecue, you can get to Mr. Barbecue from their parking lot. So
I hope they do well. I was really surprised that Hero House couldn't make a go of it in that location.
Well, it wasn't for any other reasons than from what I understood, this could be hearsay, but what I heard was that the owners just wanted to concentrate on the one on Stratford. That
Too much going back and forth.
Well, it was that, and they just there was, I think, a internal conflict, and they're like, you know what, the heck with it.
Just close it down.
Yeah, because one of the girls who worked there now works at Willows.
Oh, okay.
So I said, what happened? Because It wasn't my favorite place to go, and they were kind of pricey for what you got, but it was, if you needed something like that, it was there.
Right. Yeah.
And now it's not. So
I'd be curious to see the new place. How does this stack up against the other seafood places here in town?
right.
Does it beat Crab Shack?
I don't know. And there's another one too. Didn't we talk about another one that was coming somewhere else?
I had heard there was another one
Yeah,
coming.
I can't remember right offhand where that was, but there is another one somewhere that is here in town. So that's coming. It's not open yet.
Right.
I'm
curious to see how they compete against Kings.
I would be too. And then you have the full moon people in
Right.
and Clemens or Louisville or wherever that is. It's Louisville
I think
Clemens Road.
technically it's
Clemens, yeah.
But you're almost to Louisville at that point.
Yeah. I mean, it's on Louisville Clemens Road.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'd like to, I have a number for them. They said, yeah, call us and talk about it. I just haven't had time because that weather just screwed everything up. And, we apologize to the listeners for last week not having a show. And we won't have one next week or the week after that because those are Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
Yep.
And,
I was going to ask.
yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up.
There's no reason to drag you out to here for that, and I'm not going to either because Christmas Eve is the second cooking, eating holiday in my family, and then New Year's Eve I'm actually playing at the Ramcat.
Cool.
I'm part of the Plaids.
You're going to play with them?
Yeah, I'm going to do the Diana Ross part in Endless Love.
Oh, my God.
And I might do...
Are you going to do it in drag?
No, I won't do it in drag. I don't own my own drag. I mean, I might wear a kilt, but I don't own my own drag. But no, I was asked to participate in that and do some other things, so I don't know exactly what that is yet. We'll find out tomorrow.
I thought it was interesting, though, the picture that I saw that the Ramcat had out promoting New Year's did not have Mr. Shumai in the picture.
Huh.
It was just the other three guys. I'm like, all right, Steve, what's the deal?
I don't think it's anything there.
It's just a picture they used.
Yeah, because as Doug has told me in the past, if Steve's not in the band, the Plaid's not a band because he does all the booking. And he says we would just have to do something else at that point. Not saying that they wouldn't do something else. I'm just saying that it's not. Sexy Steve is part of the Plaids. So and this was awfully quick timing to have to find a replacement bass player if that was not the case. So yeah, especially with the catalog that they do and all the other stuff.
Yeah, I understand they've got hundreds of songs in their repertoire.
Yeah, and I told them I was available to sing backup for almost any of them. But yeah, my first love. I'm going to be doing that.
We may have to see if we can't get some backstage passes to hear that.
Well, Sweet Potatoes will have its Sunday supper, this next Sunday supper, served family style on December 30th, featuring prime rib, fried chicken, pecan apple tart, and more.
Now, did you give the full name? Isn't it Sweet Potatoes Shut My Mouth?
Well, Sweet Potatoes Shut My Mouth. No, Well Shut My Mouth, a restaurant.
Give them the full.
Yeah, that's right. To find out more about this, go to brownpapertickets.com. And I will tell you that with the service fee for the ticketing, it is $63 a person. Now, that might be steep, but it might be worth it if you're really into the
sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes, they don't do bad things. So,
no.
Stephanie and Vivian know what they're doing, so it's always good.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the Burger Batch website, all Burger Batch restaurants will assume the name of its original entity, Small Batch.
The Burger Batch you have come to know is gone.
Yes. I suppose this is to consolidate brand awareness and perhaps brew beer at the High Point location as well. I'm not sure. But they are going to all be called Small Batch, basically starting immediately. So
interesting.
As I told you in our little pregame, I thought that's what it should have been the whole time. Because Burger
It's-
Batch
yeah.
makes no sense.
Personally, the first time I heard about Small Batch and Burger Batch, I thought they were two completely separate companies.
Yeah.
And when I drove by and it says Small Batch, I'm like, where's Burger Batch?
Yeah.
Of course, they have this tiny little sign for Burger Batch, and if you didn't know what you were looking for, you missed it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, from a marketing perspective, it does make more sense to have one name.
Well, the city is trying to, if you take the in and just put force, people, the new businesses to, or at least the downtown, is trying to enforce the smaller signs. Bull's
Mhm.
Tavern now has one. You've probably
Yeah.
seen that. Burger Batch has that. Unless it's along with a theme or something. See, the good thing about Small Batch was they were able to use the Copper Kitchen sign
Yeah.
and put their own up there. When it's not lit up, it still says Copper Kitchen, but when it's lit up, it's the Small Batch logo. So I think that's cool. That was their plan originally, was to actually do the Copper Kitchen, redo the neon for that, and it actually be Copper Kitchen, because that's historic in this
It's been
town.
there forever, yeah.
But the city wouldn't let them do that. So then, well, yes, you can put your own on there. I guess it was a trademarking thing or whatever. I don't know, but, or a confusion thing. I would think you would want an original on there. It's like
Yeah.
some of those buildings downtown that have like the old, signs and marquees, not marquees that you put stuff, but the signs that were painted on the wall,
Yeah.
like Quanto Basso did on theirs. But
Yeah.
I wish if I owned those buildings, I would find out what they were and have them redone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Keep that
Yeah.
history, that flavor.
yeah. But anyway, Small Batch, now it makes sense, I think, because I believe still their bread and butter is the beer.
Mm-hmm.
Burgers are great, and my honest opinion, I think their burgers are more novelty than they are food.
Well, when the burger is 7 feet tall,
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
that's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I have a big mouth, and if I have trouble
Yes,
getting
you
them
do.
in my mouth, then something's wrong with that. So,
Yeah, if I
Yeah.
can't wrap my mouth around the sandwich, the burger, whatever, then
Yeah.
that's too much.
absolutely not. So, since we're not going to be here next week or the week after that, I figured I would ask you, what are you guys doing for Christmas? What do you do for Christmas?
This year, nothing terribly extravagant. We're going to drive over to Hickory, spend some time with my mother-in-law over there.
Okay.
So other than that, just kind of hanging out at the crib. Christmas is usually you get to open one present Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
and then we do the main presents on Christmas morning. Our family usually does some sort of a special breakfast. Dinner tends to be later, so the big breakfast works.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to. I don't have my mom's sweet cinnamon rolls, sweet rolls
Yeah.
that she would make every year for Christmas. I don't have that recipe, but we used to look forward to that.
Well, she won't give you the recipe?
I just never asked for it.
Oh.
But yeah, just spending some time with family, remembering from our perspective what Christmas is about.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the short version.
Well, traditionally in my family, Christmas Eve has always been the gala, if you will. What it was, we would always go when I was young, very young, like kid young.
Yeah.
When all my grandparents were still alive, Christmas Eve was my mom's side of the family. We all got together there. Christmas Day was my dad's side of the family. All my grandparents are gone, and even when they were here, I was traveling to West Virginia and back on these holidays.
That's a long way to go and back in a day.
Yeah, so luckily when we were going to West Virginia for Christmas, it was go there, spend the night, go to my dad's side of the family, and then come back home quickly because we had to get. But I am no longer married to that person, and two, I don't have a reason to go up there. I mean, I have family, but now that all my grandparents are gone, my parents do everything at their house.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily with Stephanie's family, just like Thanksgiving, her brother
here,
and she comes to
come over to your dad's house.
my mom and dad's, and then we do everything there together. And then Saturday we get together mid-afternoon for a light. So it's been prime rib, it's been other things, but I think it's going to be spaghetti and meatballs or something this time. But last year and this year too, after that's done, we go to Chef Travis Meyer's house.
Oh.
And I'm actually going to take my deviled eggs this time. They won't be as runny and crappy this time. I will make sure that if I had to put a gallon of cornstarch in there, by God, that stuff's going to set up right. But I'm doing the eggs for my parents' Christmas Eve, and then I will have them do another batch Christmas Day to take to Travis's. But
with the bacon and the orange juice
and the maple syrup.
Yeah.
So again, it's bacon grease first. We do the bacon. I take the grease, put it in the egg, put the mayonnaise and both yellow and Dijon mustard in there, orange juice, the bacon grease,
you know what you
maple
need?
syrup. What?
Food Freaks has made their bacon jam available.
Well, that's kind of not fun though. Part of the fun is doing it all myself.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
I'm one of those. I like to do everything as close to scratch as I can. If I can make my own dressings, if I can make my own sauces, things like that, I'm going to do that. So,
And they won't tell you how they make their stuff.
no.
Talk to Brandon. He's not going to give that out.
I wonder if I sweet talked my ex-wife into talking to her cousin if she could get it.
Maybe.
Still doubtful, but anyway, I don't need that. I can do my own. But then I chop up the bacon, and once I've correctly piped the egg into the shells, I put a couple of slivers of the bacon into the egg as well, and then I grate Parmesan cheese, and I have one of those silicone mats, and I put it in the oven for 7 to 8 minutes until it melts.
Yeah.
And then I bring it out and let it dry. I put a little paper towel on it so it's not greasy, because that's enough for the bacon fat and stuff in there too. And I just crunch it up, and then I put a slice of that in there, and then I top it off with the paprika. So
They were good.
Yeah.
I had that at Thanksgiving. Yeah, that was good.
It was runny, but it won't be that way this time. I will make sure that this time I'm going to pull back. I think the problem was more mayo than I needed. And even though that's more of a coagulant, it still made everything runnier. So that, and then adding the bacon in there, then orange juice and the maple syrup, that's a lot of liquid.
It is.
And then 2 mustards. So I need to just back off on some of the stuff. I just want to make sure it tastes right. So it will. I'm just going to be very mindful of how much of what I'm putting in there this time. Usually it's just like, throwing stuff in there. and again, I was doing it by myself, and you weren't there. This was at Paul's house that happened. I had them right for you guys. At Paul's, I was trying to, because Stephanie was at work, and I was, I have my tennis elbow, and I can't squeeze anything. So I was holding the bag, the baggie that I'd put it all in there, and was trying to cut with my left hand, which I can't do a whole lot with my left hand other than fret a guitar. And I'm sitting there trying to hold that and do it, and I snipped off way too much, and it was more runny than I wanted, and it just started running all over everything. I mean, so there was just like a pool of yellow on top of the... So I was just still putting stuff on there. I said, you know what? These are my friends. I'm not entering this into the fair, so I'm just going to take it like it is. It still tasted delicious, and that's what it was. So you're probably wondering what I was talking about. They weren't as runny for you guys, and they won't be running at all this time, and I'm going to do them right.
Now, has Chef Travis had this before?
Chef Travis has never had me making them, but he has gotten the recipe from me. The first real sit-down interview I ever did with him. He started work at Willow's 2 weeks before a Thanksgiving. I guess it was 4 years ago. And I went in and did an interview with him the Wednesday before. And I was telling him I was going to make those eggs. And he's like, God, that sounds delicious. And I told him what it was. And he said he was going to make them. And he did. And then whenever I told him I was going to bring some, he said, yes. So there's that.
That sounds like a fun place to go.
Yeah,
for a nice meal.
It's his wife, his 2 kids, his mother, whoever of her family comes, and Travis is the only boy in a triplet set. So there's 2 sisters. One has a Secret Service husband. He actually is Secret Service, and the other is
very cool.
I forget what he does, but like manages a Target or something. But
nice.
Still manages a Target. Yeah. So they all get together, and Travis cooks stuff all day, and then we show up and drink and bring the eggs this time, and
there you go.
They go from there.
I can just hear the conversation. So what is it that you do exactly? Shut up. Can't tell you. I have to kill you. Ask me again. I want to.
Ask me, I dare you. But yeah, so it's going to be fun. But regardless, I do wish your family a Merry Christmas, and I do wish our listeners a Merry Christmas. Let's do some food holidays. Today, the 17th, is National Maple Syrup Day.
Yay for maple syrup.
It's also Nutcracker Day, because on this date in 1892, the very first performance of Tchaikovsky's The Nutcracker happened in St. Petersburg.
Did not know that.
In 1903, on this day, Wilbur and Orville Wright made their first successful flight of the self-propelled, heavier-than-air aircraft in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina.
Yes, first in flight, North Carolina.
Yeah. Even though they were from Ohio, and they built the plane in Ohio.
Yeah, and Ohio tries to claim it, but no. It happened here.
That's right. In 1913, on the 17th, Burt Baskin of Baskin-Robbins was born.
Nice.
In 1965, on the 17th, the largest edition of the Sunday New York Times was published with 946 pages.
Wow.
That thing had to have been bigger than a phone book.
What would they have to print?
I don't know.
We have something from every household in New York. A brief article of the entire city. Who would want to take the time to read over 900 pages
I
of
wonder
a
if
newspaper?
it's archived. Since it's only the 60s, I mean, I think microfiche and all that stuff, but it would probably have been converted to digital by now.
You'd think.
Yeah, because I know you can find all the old Winston-Salem journals now on digital. So it'd be interesting to see what all was in that at 946 pages.
I mean, was it all advertising?
I don't know. It would have to be a lot of advertising.
You'd think.
But I guess in the 60s, people would read through that a little bit more than they do now. People now tend to skip over that.
Well, we didn't get our news from Facebook at that time.
That's true. Or Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
In 1974, on the 17th, Duff Goldman, born Jeffrey Adam Goldman, was born. He's an American pastry chef, owner of Charm City Cakes in Baltimore. His TV appearances include Ace of Cakes, Food Network Challenge, Iron Chef America, and Man vs. Food.
Iron Chef.
Iron Chef! Was it, in other words of my famous uncle?
Whatever that thing is that they would yell.
Yeah. Something cuisine. Cuisine, yeah. Which I think means good food. In 2005, on the 17th, a group of 40 people dressed in Santa Claus costumes rampaged through Auckland, New Zealand, robbing stores and assaulting security guards. Ho, 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 indeed.
Wow.
On the 18th of December is National Roast Suckling Pig Day. It's National Bake Cookies Day. Yeah.
Anybody with a lobbyist can get a day.
It would, it still is, but my ex-wife, it's her birthday that day. In 1935, Jacques Pepin was born, a well-known award-winning French chef, prolific cookbook author, and host of numerous TV cooking shows, including the PBS series with Julia Child, Julia and Jacques Cooking at Home. The 19th of December is Oatmeal Muffin Day and National Hard Candy Day. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody paid a lobbyist to get that done.
I don't think it's so much of a lobbyist because it's just because it's national doesn't mean it's recognized by anybody other than the food industry people. And it's because, I mean, we could have National The Man Who Ate the Town Day, and no one has to approve that. Today is National
The
Man Who
Ate
Ate
the
the
Town Day. And guess what? So is tomorrow.
Yes. This is what, I'm a wrestling fan. I'm not afraid to talk about that. But there's a wrestler, his name's Rusev. He's from Bulgaria. And his wife, Lana, is the ravishing Russian, although she's from Florida. But Rusev actually is from Bulgaria. She speaks perfect Russian because she was raised in, I think, Ukraine or Belarus. Her dad was an army something. So, but anyway, every day is Rusev Day. In 1732, on the 19th, it was the first issue of Poor Richard's Almanac published by Benjamin Franklin, and it is still used to this day by farmers and agriculture people because it is quite accurate. On the 20th, it's National Sangria Day, one of my favorite days.
I can get behind that.
In 1893, the official opening of the Chateau Frontenac Hotel in Quebec, Canada. Has nothing to do with food, but I just love that hotel. I've never been there, but I love to look at it. It's you would know it if you saw it. It's iconic. In 1949, Thomas Carvel of Hartsdale, New York, received a patent for an apparatus for agitating and dispensing frozen foods like custards, ice creams, and other things in semi-solid condition. If you recognize the last name, it's Carvel.
Ice cream. Yep.
On the 21st, it is the winter solstice 2018, the shortest day of the year. It's also National Underdog Day, which Underdog Records is probably going to do something special. It's always the third Friday in December, so it's not just because it's Friday this week.
So is it like Underdog, the character Underdog?
Underdog of all kinds.
Okay.
The ones who aren't supposed to win but sometimes do, and you pull for the underdog. Underdog Records, Underdog the cartoon character, anything Underdog is featured on this day.
So we expect a blowout celebration from our local record store.
Hell yeah, I hope so. I like that.
Some good specials.
I will
Everything is in the dollar bin.
I doubt that will happen, but I will find out on Wednesday because I'll do the commercial for the Less Desirables since they are the official music sponsor of the Less Desirables. Also on the 21st, it is National Kiwi Fruit Day and National Fried Shrimp Day.
Oh, I'm all about the fried shrimp.
You like
Boiled.
fried shrimp?
I like boiled better, but I could do some fried shrimp.
See, that's the thing with our Christmas deal. My sister makes, as long as she doesn't lose her mother-in-law. My sister makes beer steamed shrimp in some peppery spice thing, and she makes her own cocktail sauce and all that. So that is the festive food every year is that.
We used to live in Florida. My grandfather had a little boat. He and my mom would go out into intercoastal waterways and come back with 20, 30 pounds of shrimp. And we had this giant pot and take, almost a case of beer to fill that thing up.
Yeah.
Boil the shrimp with the spices. We didn't use plates. My grandmother put a big plastic tablecloth down on the table, threw the shrimp out. Everybody had a towel. Forget the paper towel.
Yeah.
Just a towel. And then there's the cocktail sauce, some cheese, a little bit of bread that was on the table. And you ate until shrimp was coming out of every pore. Oh my God. That
sounds like my kind of day because I love all that.
Yeah. When some people say, how many, can you eat a pound of shrimp? I'm like, that's the warm up.
Yeah. That's why I always tell people on Christmas Eve, you go ahead and get what you want. No, you go ahead and get what you want. And then I just start
the rest of it's mine.
I just start raking it onto my plate.
Your portion, my portion.
On the 21st in 1620, the Pilgrims arrived at Plymouth Rock.
Was it that late in the year?
Yeah. Bad weather actually delayed the actual landing until the 23rd.
Huh.
So they arrived on the 21st, but had to stay on the boat another 2 nights.
They couldn't. City hadn't plowed the streets yet. So.
No, that's right. Ordinance and permits and all that stuff. In 1937, Walt Disney's first full-length animated film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Dwarfs, opened in Los Angeles, California. It ran for 83 minutes and cost $1.5 million to make.
Wow.
At that time, that was
huge in that time.
Now, my question is, why is it not dwarves, but dwarfs?
I thought it was dwarves.
No.
With the VV.
Nope. Actually, I typed that into something, and it's not even a real word.
Dwarves?
Dwarves. It's dwarfs.
I always thought it was DWARVES.
I did too, but it's no such word.
But now, F, to say it dwarfs something, it's so much larger than something else.
Yeah.
But multiple little people would be dwarves.
Nope.
Well, that's why we do this. We learn every week.
That's right, we do. In 1998, on the 21st, Adelaide Holly Cumming died. She was television's original Betty Crocker on The Betty Crocker Show, premiering in 1949. In 1999, David Gesk and Lynn C. Kretschmann of Menu Saver Inc. were granted a patent for making a sealed crustless sandwich of peanut butter and jelly. It was later purchased by Smucker's. The patent was kind of controversial from the start because, how do you patent a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
But it was sealed.
Yeah. After several lawsuits, appeals, and re-examinations, the Patent and Trademark Office issued a certificate canceling all claims in 2007. Said, just screw all that. It can't happen. But they're called not Lunchables. They're called
Lunch Pockets.
Oh no,
I've had one recently. Actually, it was okay.
Well, because you have to keep them frozen, and you thaw them out, and it tastes like everything else that's thawed out.
Yeah, and personally, I love peanut butter, so there's always peanut butter in the house. And when I make a peanut butter sandwich, it's really good. So yeah, to have that little sealed thing that had been thawed out, it didn't meet my standards.
It's called Uncrustables,
and it didn't have any chocolate chips in there. So how could it be a peanut butter sandwich without that?
What?
You have to use the little mini morsels, not the big chips, because that's too big. But you use the little mini morsels, and you sprinkle that on your peanut butter with whatever jelly you're using as well.
What?
Yeah.
Why would you ruin a good PB&J by adding chocolate to it?
You remember the old commercials?
Yeah,
you got your
chocolate
peanut butter in my chocolate.
You got your chocolate in my
peanut butter on my sandwich. Oh, the two great tastes that taste great together. That's why, because chocolate and peanut butter are so natural.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a Reese's fan.
Yeah.
I love Reese's, but
try it. You have to take the little mini chocolate chips.
well, and I'm the one that also likes to put peanut butter on my hamburgers too. So and jelly. So
You're weird too.
yeah. So there we go. It has to be peanut butter and red pepper jelly. Because it's still got to be kind of savory-ish
Okay.
to go with the burger.
Yeah.
And there's still cheese too.
Actually,
so
we just got some jalapeno jelly that would do well with that.
it would.
We had a craft show that was at the Benton Convention Center when the snow was coming. And yeah, everybody was like, yeah, we're going to go home. But we picked up some there. It was really good.
December 22nd is National Date Nut Bread Day.
Okay. At least it's not fruitcake.
Yeah. Do you know anybody that eats fruitcake?
Actually, a friend of mine, they took a picture of the oven, and there was like 6 pans of fruitcake in the oven at one time. Yes, apparently they love fruitcake.
I have a friend who makes a fruitcake every year. I think he makes them and enters it into the fair too.
Okay.
And I'm like,
Why?
but if it's freshly made, that's one thing. I think I could do it then. But what I was used to in West Virginia when people had fruitcake was that stuff. It was made like, in June and passed around. I still swear at that point there was one fruitcake and we just passed it from person to person every year. It was the same fruitcake because nobody ate it.
Super dense. It could be
was-
one of those fire starter logs.
It could. It was dry as the Sahara Desert.
And those candied fruits.
Yeah, the green maraschino cherries.
Yeah.
That
why?
were dry.
No, thank you.
I don't
Now,
mind green maraschino cherries, but I don't want them dried out and then stuffed in the middle of this not fluffy, but this, rock stuff.
Yeah. Now I've had cake with fruit in it.
Oh yeah,
Fresh fruit. That it was like, oh yeah, this is great.
yeah.
But traditional fruitcake. But now the date that you just mentioned, that sounded good. I could eat that.
Date nut bread.
Date nut. I prefer banana nut, but date nut could be good too.
Yeah. On the 22nd in 1850, Konstantin Fahlberg was born. He was a Russian chemist and co-discoverer with Ira Remsen of the artificial sweetener saccharin in 1879. On the 22nd in 1985, a record grouper caught with rod and reel in Destin, Florida, weighed over 436 pounds. I don't know why I'd say over 436 pounds. It was 436 pounds. But still,
That's a
grouper
big
with a rod and reel.
That's a big grouper for one.
That
And then
is.
to do it on rod and reel.
Yeah.
And Destin too. Why would you Destin, Florida, of all the random little places in the world?
I don't know. On the 23rd is National Pfeffernuss Day,
You
With-
smile when you say that at me.
which is a peppermint cookie that isn't far from really the Danish wedding cookies, but they aren't exactly the same either. It's not peppermint, pepper nut cookie. So there's some pepper and some nutmeg and stuff like that, but it's still dusted with powdered sugar like the Danish wedding cookies, which are one of my favorite cookies.
I like those, yeah.
I love them. I would eat a whole box at one sitting if my wife didn't slap them out of my hand.
I came so close to buying those Danish butter cookies at the store the other day. It took a supreme effort of will and a giant yank from my wife going, this way.
In 1675, on that date, this is the 23rd, Charles II of England issued a proclamation suppressing coffee houses. The public response was so negative that he revoked it on January the 8th. That is right, 2 weeks later.
It's interesting when you look at the history of coffee houses. That was where the major political and philosophical conversations of the day were actually happening.
Yep.
They were very important at that time.
Yep.
So, yeah.
In 1675, yes.
Yeah.
When it got into the 17s, it was pubs.
Right. And it's not like going to, a coffee house that we know today.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Well, and two, if you go to a coffee house in Amsterdam, that's where you buy your pot.
Oh.
The cafes is where you get your coffee. A coffee house is where you buy your pot.
Did not know that, having not been to Amsterdam.
I have never once smoked pot, but we found really quickly in Amsterdam, you make wide berths around door openings.
Contact eye.
Yeah, because it's when you just see it when they open the door, it just rolls
Here comes
out.
the cloud.
Yeah, it's like that movie The Fog from the 70s.
Yeah.
It's like rolling out of there. Someone put on their fog machine. It's that dry ice fog machine that's just rolling out of there. So every time we saw a sign for a coffee house in Amsterdam, we
Other side of the street.
we just walked widely around it because you would get a contact time. On the 23rd in 1823, Clement Moore's classic poem A Visit from St. Nicholas, which we all know as The Night Before Christmas, was first published anonymously in the Troy, New York Sentinel. In 1888, on the 23rd, in Arles, France, Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh, suffering from severe depression, cuts off part of his left ear with a razor. And in 2003, on the 23rd, the USDA announced the first suspected case of bovine spongiform encephalopathy.
Yeah, you say that just once, forget 3 times.
Or as we call it here, mad cow
cow
disease.
Yep.
So, yeah, in 2003. It seems like it was longer than that,
It does seem like it would have been further back.
but it was 2003.
And despite popular rumor, no, that is not the nickname of my ex-wife.
No, she's more a perturbed cow.
Well, I'm just going to stop.
No,
I'll just stop.
I wasn't even going to use her in that joke, but I don't mind slightly perturbed cows. I just don't want them mad at me.
Yeah, they don't need to be that. Crazy
Moo.
is a different issue as well.
They
Crazy
look at-
cow.
They look at you and go, moo,
Moo.
moo, mo, yeah,
Yeah. You followed me.
moo, fo. All right, I'm done being
Bovine
stupid. At least
humor.
bovine. I got bovine on the mind. So that's your food histories and holiday for this week. Special thanks to James Ehler at Food Reference for compiling the holidays and history. The Less Desirables podcast is the Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables podcast network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to The Less Desirables, The Beer Dads, Fan Interference, and Apartment 5B. Just so you know, Fan Interference will be moving to Wednesdays starting in the new year.
Mm-hmm.
You can Wednesday afternoons. You can find all these podcasts and their latest episodes on our network website and directory.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, I got my tongue wrapped around my eye tooth and I couldn't see what I was saying.
See, that's what happens when you miss a week.
That's true. It wouldn't have mattered. I still would have screwed it up. If you have the Echo or Echo Dot, you can enable AnyPod and have Alexa have AnyPod play the Man Who Ate the Town podcast or any of the others. Delicio's Restaurant.
Delicious. Great place.
Yep, the go-to Italian restaurant in town. He carefully prepares dishes from his native Napoli, hearty and delicate dishes that whisk you away to the eateries of southern Italy. They have a great beer and wine list. They're located at 301 Brookstown Avenue.
And also in Italy.
Italiano. They're open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Check them out on Instagram and on, as Tony would say, Facebook.
Flights of fancy available daily.
That's true. In the red sauce or the white sauce varieties.
Yes.
Your flight of fancy. God, I can't
Or
talk.
fantasy. If you've never had food that good before, you may think that you're in a fantasy world.
This is so true. Washington Park and Provision Company is located at 301 West 4th Street. Have you purchased your Homeland Creamery's eggnog, Ray?
Oh, I love me some eggnog.
I still have never had it. One of these days I will. My son asked me, what is eggnog? I said, I don't know. I said, made with cream and eggs, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe raw eggs
Raw eggs.
go into that, yeah.
Yeah.
But it very thick, very creamy, very sweet with just a little bit of the nutmeg in there. Very good with spiced rum.
Yeah. Okay, so it is a rich, chilled, sweetened, dairy-based beverage. Is traditionally made with milk, cream, sugar, whipped egg whites, and egg yolks, which give it a frothy texture and its name. In some contexts, distilled spirits such as brandy, rum, whiskey, or bourbon are added to the drink.
There you go. That's sort of what I said.
It is.
It was more detailed.
Yeah, but you laid the foundation.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
If
Washington
you're
Park
gonna
and
get it,
Prevention Company.
that's where you want to go get your egg.
Yes. 301 West 4th Street. And while you're in getting your Wolfie's custard
I
or
was going to say
eggs,
the custard's there too.
milk, cheese from Homeland Creamery, it's still the same company.
Mhm.
I'm sure they'll be close to each other. Grab the eggnog while you're in there. Perk also has Larry's Beans Coffee. They have peanut butter. They have
They have a
dog
chip
food.
wall?
They have a chip wall. They have a deli to make
I mean,
sandwiches.
Who has a chip wall? They do.
Yes, they do. They have the cheese puffs. They have the avocado chips. They have olive oil chips. They have regular just kettle chips.
So you're saying if I want something a little different, a little
Yeah.
special, something I can't find just anywhere, I need to go to Washington Park.
That's exactly what I was saying. You said it for me, but that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
You got it.
It's like two minds operating as one.
That's right. And they also have a beer and wine wall.
Oh, yes.
And
you
a
should
lot
do
of
that
it's-
before the chip wall.
Yeah, because that takes precedence.
Well, you want to make sure you're doing the right pairing of beer and wine with chips
That's right.
and eggnog.
And that's where you go. Washington Park can do that. Again, 301 West 4th Street. And on Facebook, they are Washington Perk. On Instagram, they are Washington Perk _DTWS. And the Humblebee shop is located at 1003 Brookstown Avenue in the west end of downtown. Visit her for cookies, cakes, pies, and dessert goodies made just for you, especially the macarons. Even especially the macarons. If you need vegan or gluten-free, she does that too. Everything is carefully crafted and made 100% from scratch because Brittany is a genius when it comes to baking,
And
and
she wants only the best.
yes, and you will know that it's only the best if you go to Humblebee Shop.
Well, I mean, like the vegan and gluten-free options. She didn't do that because she needs that. She did that because she said, you know what, there are people in town that want good options.
Yeah,
And I want to give them that.
and that's what she does.
It's all about the customer for her.
She wants to challenge your perception of Scratch Made and leave you with an experience you couldn't possibly forget. For more information, follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit thehumblebeeshop.co, and that's SHOPPE.co.
C-O, no M.
That's right. Co. Yo.
That's co.
Like yo.
Yo. Yoko.
All right. Well, keep an eye on the blog and this podcast to find out more about the food news and happenings around town. If you have any food news, send an email to Tim at themanwhoatetown.com.
That is .com, not .co.
That is .com. Or .corn, as I would always say. Whenever it looks like corn if you look at it long enough. Like us on Facebook. On Twitter, we are Man Who Number 8 to Town. On Instagram, we are Man Who 8 to Town. So from me and Ray to all of our listeners, we hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a New Year's.
Christmas.
And we will see you next year. Yeah?
Yes.
Well, my name is Tim.
My name is Ray.
Thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Bon appetit. The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the man who ate the town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.